Liam, how are you feeling after the vote going against you?
Devastated. I think for those whose stories and voices I've carried with me for the last 5 years, I think there's an opportunity for Parliament to right a wrong, address something that clearly has been failing dying Scots for far too long. There was an opportunity to address that, and Parliament didn't take that opportunity.
You said in Parliament very clearly that you think this will come back, obviously, in the next parliamentary term. Is that what you think?
That's for others to decide. I think there's an opportunity now to address this. This issue isn't going away. I think the numbers that are affected by the sorts of cases that you heard aired in the Chamber this evening are only going to increase going forward, and the public overwhelmingly want to see a change in the law. So this is coming back.
Were you disappointed that so many MSPs switched sides?
I think it's for the MSPs to explain the rationale for the way in which they voted. As I said in the Chamber, I think there will be MSPs who will reflect back on the decision taken here this evening and may have regrets. We've heard that from MSPs formerly in this Chamber, and I think when people recognise in the cold light of day the opportunity to be passed up, I'm sure there will be regrets.
Why did it slip away? What swung the argument against you?
I think that inevitably the closer you come to making a decision, the enormity of what you're doing weighs very heavily. And I think, as you heard in the debate this evening, there were MSPs that were, I think, justifying the rationale for voting against. But I think in every instance, if you look at the way in which these laws work in practice in places like Australia, New Zealand and the United States, those same concerns were raised in advance of a change in the law. And in reality, they haven't been borne out. What we put in place is protections that simply don't exist at the current time for many reaching the end of life.
Do you think a lot of people will feel let down after this vote tonight?
I think many dying Scots and their families will feel very let down. I mean, they were, I think, hoping that the political mood had at last caught up with where the public mood has been for many, many years now. And that's, in a sense, that's where my disappointment comes from. It's not about the individual MSPs here. It's those who have always needed to be at the heart of this debate, which is dying Scots and their families.
Devastated, disappointed. Are you also angry?
I think what we saw this evening was, again, Parliament rising to the challenge of debating this in a respectful and a serious manner. As I say, it's up to MSPs to justify the decisions that they've taken. But I think Parliament itself rose to the challenge. But I think, as I say, very many Scots who were desperate to see this change in the law will be devastated. In a sense, many of the people I've spoken to over the last 5 years, they knew that any change in the law was going to come too late for them, but they dearly, dearly hoped that a change in the law would allow at least some hope for those that came after, and that's been denied them as a result of the vote tonight.